Hey, I'm Brandon.
I'm Bishop. We are in Crobot. We are here with Scott Bowling, and you are watching
Good company.
Good company!
Hey guys, my name's Scott Bowling, and you're watching Good Company. Today, we have a special episode. We have Crobot here. Woo. We have Brandon.
Yep.
Brandon. Bishop.
Yep.
Bishop. I'll say him twice. They have 2 albums, and we're going to talk about it. But actually, do you guys have you have an album before this, right?
I'm so happy you know that.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
It is non-existent either.
Yeah. We when we got signed to Wind Up, in 13?
13.
I don't even know.
So.
It's been a blur. We sort of signed the rights off to that. So, I don't know. I would love to try to get it on at least Spotify or something.
Yeah. So, I guess we're just jumping right into it. But how hard was it to get into Wind Up? I mean, was this demo floating around for a while, or?
It was pretty crazy.
Tell the story, please.
So what happened is one of our fans actually uploaded one of our music videos to this contest to enter to play at the Grammys or something of that sort. And
Probably wasn't even a real
yeah,
thing.
it was rigged. It was a rigged competition. We didn't win, basically, the short of it. But
Made for a good story, though.
yeah. And I guess the A&R, one of the A&R guys at Wind Up, his buddy's band was on the same contest, and he said, hey, go check my band's video out. Mm-hmm. And he did. He checked it out, got up from his computer, went and did something, and heard something as the next video that played in the queue, came back, and he's like, what the hell was that? And it was our video. So I guess 3 weeks he watched our social media page and just wanted to see what we were up to, then sent us an email and said, hey, I'm Sean from Wind Up Records. Wow. I've been watching you guys for a couple weeks and really dig what you guys are doing, and we'd love to set up a meeting, and the rest is history.
That's crazy. Was this on YouTube, like video?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it ourselves.
Oh, you did? So you had somebody just film it? Was a complete low budget?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, Crobot was like DIY. We'd been doing it for 2 or 3 years already, funding everything ourselves, funding our own. I mean, to fund tours and that album, we went and played a residency in Alaska at Chilkoot Charlie's. That's where we wrote a lot of the material.
Wow.
So we did like 4 or 5 nights a week, 4 sets a night of just straight up cover songs, you know?
What were you guys covering?
Dude,
Like the Doors,
yeah,
and
like
Led Zeppelin,
Nice.
and they were like, maybe you guys should play some more Green Day. We're like, sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The quote was, maybe less mountain and more jet. They were looking for like party rock, and we're like, yeah, we'll do that. And then we just would never change it.
We'd write songs and we'd write songs instead of learning songs, we'd write
So
songs.
there was a good span of like a month where, because me and Brandon had played in cover bands for like a living for a while, just make money, and so we booked a bunch of shows, and we would just go play them, and every time they'd be like, you guys are great, but could you, maybe change the setup to some party rock, cause like casinos and stuff. Mm-hmm. We're like, yeah, totally, and we never would. So
Just keep playing originals.
yeah, so it would take 3 or 4 times through, then everyone stopped booking us. But we made enough money at that point to where it didn't matter.
I've literally heard Vinnie Paul from Pantera say the same thing. I don't know if it was for Damage Plan or for Pantera, but they're like, can you guys change up? And he goes, yeah, we'll do that. That sounds good. Doesn't do anything.
But we wrote a lot of those songs in Alaska, recorded them, and we were just like, we were playing such different music that we didn't think that we would ever get signed to a bigger label. And so we were just going off of that, like, well, we're just going to DIY forever. And then once we got to that point, Wind Up hit us up. So.
Wow. How did you guys meet? I mean, you guys grow up together?
No,
You'd think it.
I blew Bishop off the first time.
Yeah. Not that one.
You know what I mean?
We were all thinking
That's how I got the gig, you know? Still blowing them off.
Listen,
Do what you gotta do.
no, I'll tell my version. My version of how I met Brandon was, I was in a band called the Drama Club, and we were looking for a bass player, and you know, we didn't have any luck, and I forget how your name came up, but we're like, all right, let's reach out to this guy. I called him. He was like, yeah, I'll come do this audition. The day before the audition, Brandon called me. He was like, you know, I'm going to stick with my guys. I'm not going to come to the audition. We're like, okay, that's respectful. Thanks for calling. And we still couldn't find a bass player. And we're like, man, that Brandon guy's like the only real bass player. There's like, just call him back and see if he wants to do it. And I was like, I'm not calling that guy. I was like, he blew us off.
Yeah.
You know? And I think Pesci, our lead guitar player at the time, called Brandon. He came down and like auditioned, killed it, and got the gig right away.
Okay.
But as soon as that happened, we started playing acoustic shows together. And then that band ended up breaking up, and me and Brandon started Crobot.
What year?
What's your version?
Yeah,
That's
what's the
basically
other
it.
version?
That's basically it.
There was something else funny that happened in that story.
You were tattooing in the town over from me for years, and I don't know how I didn't run into you.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
that's
where I
even-
grew up, he was tattooing, and I mean, it's just a small town in Pennsylvania, and I don't know how we never even ran into each
Never
other.
even knew. Yeah, because we were both playing music full time. It's just weird.
Were you tattooing before music? Was tattooing your first kind of gig?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I sort of structured my life to be able to do whatever I want, because I knew that, you know, music, I would have to have a flexible schedule. You know, so, and the fact that I love tattooing, I love art, and I just love creating stuff. So it's like I sort of need that self-fulfillment, and I get that from tattooing as well.
It's cool. I just thought of like when Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit kind of got famous, he did that little corn tattoo on head. I don't know. I just thought of that. And that kind of made it
That's
famous.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you tattoo anybody famous back in the day?
Not really back in the day. I mean, I still tattoo, but you know, I tattoo like music friends and stuff like that. I tattooed Brandon, and he has also tattooed me. Do you want to show him?
Yeah. Let's see.
Do you want to show him your tattoo?
Take your shirt off.
That is a caricature of myself
That he did.
that I did.
How drunk?
No, it was like a thing when we
completely
first when we first got signed. We were
Oh, this is
we
like
said
a
we would
bonding
do
thing.
that, you know.
Nice.
But yeah,
That's cool.
that was a milestone of mine. I was like, I'll never be able to do this ever again.
That's cool, man.
And when we first started working together, at the shop I was like, you know, let's see if you can apprentice here, and you know, then we could both sort of work around schedules. And he, I was like, I remember he was really just nervous to tattoo it all. And I made him do it one day. I was like, you're going to tattoo this. And it just says, shit, yeah, and had like a little taco, right? And it's right here. I would take my pants off if they weren't so, yeah. Had better underwear on.
So somebody that never tattoos, does it hurt? Like, I mean, is he going to...
Well, no, it was more, I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
Because some spots are real deep and some spots aren't at all. But it's supposed to say shit yeah, but he connected the top of the H. So it says shit year. It's actually a pretty good
That's
year.
a great song title. Shit year. Brandon, how long have you been singing for?
Since I've been like 14, so come up on like 16 years,
Wow.
17 years.
So were you doing a lot of bands before you meeting Bishop? Like little cover bands, I guess?
Yeah, cover bands. You know, the high school original band I was in, we were like 14, we're all 14, 15 playing out in the local bars. And the Liquor Control Board of Pennsylvania got wind somehow of us being underage, and we actually weren't allowed to play in bars
Wow.
for a while because the Liquor Control Board was watching us. But
That's cool, man. My wife's family's from there too.
Oh, yeah?
Erie in Pennsylvania.
Oh
or
yeah,
something,
okay. Yeah, we're from like Pottsville.
Yeah.
Like Central PA.
Your voice is like very unique, man. I love the style. It's kind of got that old like 70s kind of. What are your influences?
Oh man, Dio, Chris Cornell, Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so many. Miles Kennedy, man, Ozzy. I mean, just all of them somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Definitely influenced what I do. I grew up listening to, the 70s rock and things like that. So
That's awesome. Bishop, what were your influences, man?
Basically the same as Brandon. It's so crazy. I grew up in Tennessee. He grew up in Pennsylvania, but we had a very similar upbringing, and we're into like all the same bands growing up. I'd say my top two bands are like Clutch and Soundgarden.
Yeah.
But I just love the simplicity of a good bluesy riff, a good power riff. It's hard to take three notes and make it memorable and powerful. But yeah, as a guitar player, like all the classic bands you learn when 10 years old, learning AC/DC and Leonard Skinner and Sabbath and Zeppelin and all that stuff. The greats, it's like they'll never be done as good as that ever again. So we try to do something a little different, and our spin on that.
Yeah, that's great. And you got your first album after, so you left Wind Up, right? Is this on Wind Up, your first record?
Yep.
Okay. So you guys did the vinyl, which is awesome. Can you talk about this record? This has got some killer songs. Half of them I don't even know how to pronounce, but the Lucifer song is good, man.
Yeah.
Was it hard picking a single for this? Nowhere to Hide is such a great song, man. Super catchy, dude.
That was the last
great.
song we wrote for that, and it was just like, I remember going into it like, well, let's just write something simple that the label will like, almost like let's write a single, and sure enough, it was.
Do you guys write together, or just write lyrics bouncing back and forth?
yeah, it usually starts off with him coming up with some structural ideas, some riffs. I mean, this dude's not short of riffs, that's for sure.
When he gives you a riff, do you what's that word that singers do? You just kind of
Like mumble my way through it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. Sometimes it's something that just falls out of the mouth too. Like I remember the first time we were jamming Legend of the Spaceborne Killer, that kind of just fell out of my mouth. That whole line just fell out of my mouth.
There's something in his hands. That's the song, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's in his hand? That's great, man.
A beer.
Yeah.
Maybe. You never know.
You never know.
I love these songs, though, man. Is there anything you guys want to talk about this record? Who worked with you on this? Who produced it?
Machine.
Okay.
Yep. And he's done a bunch of records that are our favorites. Blast Timer from Clutch, and he's done a couple Lamb of God records, right?
Yep. And
Every
a
Time
couple,
I Die.
Yeah, a couple more Clutch. We he saw us playing at South by Southwest like the first year we played it, and he loved the band. He just saw us completely on chance. Like he was just supposed to see someone else, and he messed up his schedule. And since that, he was just like the biggest cheerleader for the band, and. We just we made it work. He had a busy schedule, and we finally were able to. We did it in Jersey. We did the record in Jersey with him, and I think it was like 6 weeks. And we went into it with a ridiculous amount of songs, and it ended up coming down to like 16 we recorded.
I think so, yeah.
And I think that album came out great. There's so many other songs I wish would have made it too, that I've completely forgot about until like I look at our Dropbox. I'm like, oh my God, look at that.
Would you ever release those later on or something like that? That'd be
I
cool.
wish, but you just keep creating and you fall in love with new stuff, or you feel like something newer is stronger, or you're in a different headspace.
Do you guys tour a lot on this record?
Yeah, that one we toured a lot. Actually, both of them we toured a lot.
Really?
Lots of touring.
Yeah.
Okay, after this one, how long did you guys take a break for your next album?
Not really, right?
Nope.
We kind of jumped right into it.
Yep, we
Same guy, Machine?
Yeah, Machine did it.
Yep.
Okay. The artwork is amazing. I heard you did it. Is this right?
Yeah, I do all the art. For
This is
bands.
crazy. I love the
The coolest thing about the coolest thing
like,
about
how
this.
high were you when you?
I mean, I didn't smoke weed back then. But dude,
This is all sober now.
yeah. The coolest thing about this is like, we have the Spaceborne Killer. He's like this, it's sort of like our Iron Maiden Eddie type. So if you, let me see this here.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so if you put the album flat and you have a cylinder that is like mirrored cylinder and you put it here, it'll reflect the Spaceborne. You can sort of see it. It'll reflect the Spaceborne Killer design, and it'll say BLZ 1303, which is also here BLZ 1303, which spells out Beelzebub, which ties into the comic that Brandon does. So yeah, that took a lot of useless brain power to figure out.
What's the comic you're doing? What's that about?
It all ties in with the Crobot universe. All the songs, some of them have characters or character driven. Some of them are, just sort of the same theme and in the same universe. So I got the first issue out, working on the second issue. It's called Legend of the Spaceborne Killer. Just kind of goes through the timeline of the songs and the albums and it's going to be a continuation. I'm going to keep doing
like
it
a
as
theme
long
you're
as
gonna
we.
do? Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
So your first thing off here, I really like. It's Not For Sale. Can you talk about the lyrics of that? Because it was like, who paid your dad to be here? I'm like, this is either silly or really deep. Like,
Well, when
my soul
we were
is not for sale.
when we were recording that, and I was singing the chorus, "Who paid your debt to be here?" We were just all singing "Who paid your dad to be here?" because we just constantly make fun of everything. And we were like, you know what? That's a pretty good idea. The label's never going to go for it, but maybe we should make a music video where it's like Beatlemania with dads, and they're just holding signs that say "Who paid your dad to be here?"
Yes. I love the dude eating the hot dog and he just is going everywhere.
Yeah, there's some characters in that one. The behind the scenes stuff was just as entertaining.
Yeah.
When we did that video, it was ridiculous. The whole thing was just ridiculous. But there was like this one point where they had like all these dildos, I don't even know what they were planning to do with them.
I don't know either.
But like at one certain point, like they brought out the dildos, and like there was one dad that got really offended. And he ended up leaving.
Yeah?
He
Oh,
left
really?
set.
He walked
He
off
made us-
set.
It's like that's what
He
did
made a
it.
scene?
Yep.
Yeah.
You should have put that in the video.
The dildo that broke the dad's back.
Yeah.
There's a great picture on Instagram. It's because it was like a suction cup, and they just like suction cupped it to my head. I did the whole like. It was good.
Oh, boy.
That was a fun video shoot. We did it in LA. My favorite scene was that they had to keep shooting back and forth. It was like all the dads like running in a herd in this alley, and they just kept doing it. So for like a half hour, just them running back and forth.
It's a lot of work.
They were very winded.
Other songs like this, like Play It Cool and Easy Money, it seems to have like a theme, Can you talk about Play It Cool? Is that talking about you guys trying to make it, like trying to not be defeated? Or, I don't know. I'm guessing at this.
Yeah, it's kind of like life's a roll of the die. It's anything is a risk.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking a risk in anything you do. You might as well do something you love. I mean, the thematically the album's about a lot of like corruption and greed and that sort of thing that can turn you. But just going back to the comic, like once the comic ends up catching up to the albums, that's going to be a lot of what it's about. Getting the greed and corruption sneaks its way into the picture, and you got to kind of persevere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also an excuse for us to put a cowbell on a song.
That's good.
Yeah,
It's not the last excuse we're going to use.
Oh no, we're gonna keep doing that.
More cowbell. Okay, so you guys did this, and then you hooked up with Corey Lowry.
Yep.
How did this happen? This would be your third album, or your fourth, technically, I guess.
Yeah.
It's I don't even really know. Like, we did a lot of touring with Seven Dust, and me and Clint became close, and our manager used to work for Seven Dust, and then so she was like in close with Corey and the Seether guys, and it's just sort of like it started out like when we were doing writing for this album. Corey's like, let me get with those guys and do a co-write or just get together and write some cool tunes or whatever. And we were open to it because we love Corey, and we never really met, and that didn't happen. And it started to become crunch time before we go out on tour, and we wanted to record the record. And all signs kept pointing back to making the record with Corey. And we knew that he would be able to make a really awesome rock record with us. And we knew also that this record's going to be heavier. It's just going to be a much heavier, maybe even darker, I would say, darker album. And yeah, I mean, we're halfway through, I would say, doing the record now, and it is heavy.
That's cool.
It makes me excited.
So his influences do you take his influences on these songs and the lyric writing?
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Absolutely. That's the cool thing about working with a producer is, he's kind of an extra member of the band, and working with somebody like Corey, who's definitely got a resume that speaks for itself, it's so cool to work with your idols. Yeah, basically. I mean, that's
absolutely.
Realistically what we're going through right now, which is the coolest thing.
So you guys are recording in Atlanta. Are you staying in Atlanta, or do you have what do you do? I mean, do you have like a little hotel or a
We're
place,
shacking up with a man we'll dub Mr. T.
Mr. T?
Mr. T and his wife have been gracious enough to let us crash at their house and fart up their rooms
Nice.
and we have the best fan base. We really do, and everybody's so supportive of us. And they were just like, you guys can't make it work. We'll gladly house you guys here if that helps in any way, shape, or form. And it helps tremendously.
Wow. So you guys put in you guys basically are together all the time. You're almost like you're married. Like,
Yeah.
It's like being on tour. But
Yeah.
I mean, when he's not with me, he's with me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the hardest things about being in a band now, like especially for younger bands. You have to tour as much as you can, play anywhere and everywhere for little to no money. And, unless you're ready to really, struggle it out, you're not going to make it. It does not matter how, talented you are. If you're not willing to do all those things, then you don't have a chance. You have to be really talented, the stars have to align, and you just have to persevere constantly. And even then, you probably won't be successful.
Yeah, man. Everybody's have their breaking points. I mean, you must go through that occasionally. I remember seeing you guys on a YouTube video when you had your van and you're doing a
that was a good one.
that was a good one.
Who spilled coffee down their leg? It was like this went in my sock.
I think it was me. It was me. Probably
Two
me.
guys did that. Remember one guy said, I spilled coffee down my sock. I was like, who spills coffee on their socks?
Man, that was on the Motorhead tour, right?
Yeah.
And it was, at that point, I think Anthrax was the opener. And we were the opener before them. And it was in Detroit, I think. And we just saw on the promo schedule that we had to do Bus Invaders that day. And we're like, this will be great.
Yeah.
They had no idea
chuckle.
what they're getting into. So we met them out back in front of the buses, and we're like, all right, come on down. And we like passed all the crew buses, all like this row of buses, into our van. And like we didn't prep, and that if you watch
that
we
van was
didn't prep
it
anything,
was
dude.
terrible.
Yeah, there was like a pee jug in there.
Yeah, it was.
There's
And you showed
like
it.
children's toys, like action figures, Star Trek action figures and stuff.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, that made me feel proud inside.
That's what you guys toured on for real though? That's
Oh, yeah.
legit?
Years we toured in that van.
Years.
Yeah.
You know-
like one guy slept on the floor,
Yep.
the floorboard, and you
The
were like,
crevice.
if we get in a wreck, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, man. I mean,
That takes passion.
even now, like we're in a Sprinter.
Mm-hmm.
It's the tiniest step up, but if we want to be able to sustain and do what we love, you know, you'll have to, you know, tough it out a little bit. It's fine. And that's where it's like, you just have to love it. You know, you have to love playing and like just playing music. You love music will, you make everything okay. As long as you love it, then it's worth it. But if you don't, then you'll find out real quick.
Yeah, I was about to say,
you know, you find out real quick.
Have you guys been on tour with band members like that, where you just find out you don't see that passion and that drive?
I mean, everyone's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some people just have different goals and different things, and it's totally cool. But you definitely have to have the same sort of just mentality and personality. You know, the ultimate band member is a laid back, easygoing person, and that's why, you know, me and Brandon get along so well.
Yeah, you guys seem like
we're very similar in that.
Talk about your other guy that's here, your drummer, Dan.
There he is.
Dan, drummer
Dan,
man.
he's the prettiest guy in the band.
Yeah.
You can't see him, but I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah.
You should have him take his shirt off and just walk through.
Yeah. You should tattoo him with the shirt off.
He doesn't have any tattoos.
Doesn't he?
No.
Fresh skin.
Fresh. What?
How'd you meet him? How did you meet Dan? He's
Man, I wish it was a better story. I mean,
It's a pretty good
the
story.
yeah, but do we want to tell that?
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Oh, God. Okay, so we were looking for a drummer. I was living in Austin. We were like, let's just put up a Craigslist ad and see what happens. Like, immediately, he was the first person that hit me up. And we're like, all right, we're at a bar. Who was it?
Rocky Erickson.
Yeah, we were seeing Rocky Erickson. And he immediately came, had a beer with us. We're like, wow, this guy seems really normal and like cool. It's like, all right, let's audition him. We had a great audition and things were awesome. And then we auditioned other guys and like we were just sort of like, all right, let's go with this other guy who was a friend of a friend who had had a lot of touring experience, you know, pro guy. And he showed up for rehearsals like a week before we go on tour, and he did not know anything. Like, it was scary.
wow.
It was like, oh boy, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And then we called Dan, and like Superman in a cape, he came in and just like saved the day. Like, knew all the songs better than this guy. Absolutely killed it. I felt so bad for not just like being like, yeah, you're the dude right away. But
That was in like a span of, I don't even know, like 4 hours or something, right? He came in, knew all the songs. And it was just,
it was
It's
insane.
meant to be.
yeah.
It was. But man, that whole 2-week period, the detailed stories that we could tell you are just hilarious and like insane. But we got through it, you know.
That's like pretty much our way. That's the way we
kinda wing
it just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We call it the Crobot curse.
Nice.
It just happens everywhere at all times.
Anything that
It's Murphy's
can-
law.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So working on your new album with Corey, can you guys talk about that? What's it like being in the studio with him? He does these long hours and very driven person.
Definitely. That's the coolest thing. Working with Corey is just he's just a workhorse. We're like looking around. It's been like 2 weeks now. And we just had this conversation with each other. We're like, did you ever see Corey eat?
Yeah.
It's like, no. Now that you say it, I haven't seen him eat at all.
You give him a
It's like
sandwich.
he's just in the zone. He just doesn't, he's just so driven and passionate about music.
And you guys didn't experience this with your other 2 records, right? It was a different process. Did the
Yeah, I mean, Machine was very
did
passionate.
Machine eat? You know?
Yeah.
I think he eats.
Yeah.
But Machine was awesome too. Like,
That's a cool name.
making
just
the-
Machine.
yeah, making the records with Machine was awesome. Learned a lot from him, and but very different than Corey. Like, Corey is like a band guy.
Yeah.
You know, and he's very musically talented. Whereas like Machine is also musically talented, but not like in a technical player side. Corey is just, he's definitely can play and do about anything, and He does this thing where he gets really excited and he just screams into his hands.
Does he?
Or he'll get down like in a football stance. Like out of nowhere.
Amazing.
And
That's awesome.
It is like sheer adrenaline when he does it, because you know he's excited. And it's,
The football stance. That's good. Yeah, I like that.
he's got a lot of.
I've seen Corey like push LeJean and Seven Dust singing wise. Does he push you a lot? Like, I mean, I saw a Seven Dust documentary and he was like, man, he really gave some good tips, man.
Yeah, he's great because it's music's a universal language, but when musicians are talking amongst musicians, you know, it's easily understood. And just what he's telling me to do, like, you know, enunciating better, and it's just, he definitely pushes me to be the best version of myself, you know, and we'll try anything together. We'll shoot out melodies like, well, what if we do this? What if we do that? And that's the cool thing too about being in the studio is it's this creative environment where you can do anything. You know, now's the time, because once we leave, it's forever.
Yeah.
So, you know, being able to throw ideas around and bounce ideas off of each other, especially with a guy like Corey who he definitely understands melody. I mean, that guy's got melodies for
absolutely.
days. So, you know, and that's something I definitely wanted to work on with this album, because I've just kind of been on unfiltered and you know, I have a tendency to just go off on a tangent, you know.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to focus on melodies, and he's done a great job
that's cool.
helping me out with this record for sure.
Nice. So when's like a release date gonna happen for this? Do you guys have that? I mean, do you know, or is it just take your time?
Who knows? Every date we've ever had for anything's been pushed back, you know. So, you know, hopefully summer.
Summer?
You know, yeah, that would be great. You know, we have the Damn Things and He Is Legend tour in April. So, you know, hopefully, summer, because we go to overseas in summer, so we'll be over there.
Oh, that's cool. Have you done that before, overseas?
Yeah, we've done that a few
that's cool.
times, man. Like,
Do you like it?
Love it.
Do you?
yeah, UK is just so awesome. Our fan base over there, and just people that we've met from playing UK, like I guess like 5 or 6 times now, they are just so pumped on music, you know, and it's refreshing. Not that people here aren't, but they just, you know, it's not as much and not as concentrated as UK because it's so small. But yeah, super excited.
That's so cool.
We did,
Real cool.
what were some of we did the Volbeat tour over there in Europe, but that wasn't UK.
No.
We did Black Label over
We did
there.
a couple festivals. We did Download Fest before. We've done Hellfest. Those were the 2 biggest festivals we've done overseas. But it's just completely different.
Yeah.
It's just completely different.
Fans like go crazy there, right?
Yeah. It's just in their DNA, you know? I mean, there's a lot of American bands we look up to too, but I mean, Sabbath, Zeppelin, that's our go-to.
Yeah.
So.
What interview was it we were doing? They were like asking about. I was like talking about some band from the UK that was not from the UK. What was it? Or no, it's like an American band. I was talking about the Stones and like how they're like the best American rock band. I was just like, it's just me acting like an idiot at the end.
That's great.
You mean 12 Stones?
Yeah, right.
Well, cool, man. Is there anything else you want to add? Like, we got, I guess, the summer coming up.
Yeah.
The new album. Can you give any titles away or any kind of?
I mean, that's in the air right now too. We
Yeah.
don't really know. We've got some ideas. 65 and Loving It. That's
That's my favorite.
Oh no! What was the other one? Dan. What was it? Please tell me. You can say it. Come on, Dan. It was like the 5 fingers and the angry.
Angry Knuckle and the sore fingers. Angry Knuckle and the sore fingers.
Out of context, it's not as funny, but when we thought of it, it was funny.
So watch out for our side project, Angry Knuckle and the Sore Fingers. Not quite sure what we're gonna sound like yet, but we got a badass name.
Yes.
That's a
yeah,
start.
better
Yeah.
Watch out.
Do some cool artwork with that.
Oh, you know it.
Man. Yeah.
It's like a decrepit,
It's just like, it's just like
decrepit
ouch.
hand.
It's like, ah.
My fingers hurt.
Yeah, it's like
Grab my
Band-Aids.
strong hand. Remember that movie?
My germs.
Well, guys, thank you for being here, man. This is fun. Really
Yeah,
awesome,
thank
man.
you.
Appreciate it, dude.
Yes.